Hey, welcome. My name is Ryan Stanley. I am a life and self-leadership coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative entrepreneur. I've got a couple different businesses. As a recording of this video, it is January 5th, 2021. We are a little bit less than a year into the global pandemic known as COVID-19. I've decided to try something new, try a new adventure for this year of 2021. And that is looking into the reality of outer body experiences. So in December of 2019, I read a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Becoming Supernatural. And I put into practice his meditations. And I worked basically, give or take, every single day, tried a different one. I have about 15 or 16 downloaded to my phone. Every Sunday, I do a walking meditation, but a lot of it is accessing the pineal gland. A lot of it is creating, using your body as a vehicle of consciousness to create the life around you. And I've had some amazing experiences. 2020 was such a unique year for all of us around the world. And it was unique for me in many different ways. But really, I can say that I leveled up in just about every area of my life. And so as 2020 was coming to a close, I went to a wedding. My brother got married out in Pennsylvania. When I got home from that wedding, I found out it was a small wedding, but I found out my mother was there. Well, I knew she was there, but I found out that she had COVID. And so she's fine. Her husband, my stepfather, also had COVID. And so they were both there. And so I'd spent some time with them. And I was sick. And so just to take precautions, turns out I didn't have COVID. But to take precautions before I knew that for a fact, I guess I just caught a cold. We decided to quarantine myself. So I stayed in my basement. I've got a wife and 2 kids. And I kind of wasn't feeling myself. I was just drained. I mean, I didn't lose my taste or anything like that. And I didn't have any high fever, but I had a lot of fatigue and kind of a sore throat and an upper chest thing. And so I was fighting a little something, but didn't feel like working much. I'm generally not a TV guy. I don't watch a ton of TV. But so during this downtime, I had a blow up mattress down in my basement and I was hanging out and I was in front of the television, not really wanting to do much else. And I'm a subscriber to Gaia, the Gaia channel, because I like Dr. Joe is on there and I found some other information. Greg Braden has some great videos on there. I came across this movie while I was looking for something to do. I didn't feel like doing much. I came across a movie called The Path. There is a subtitle that I'm not remembering right now, but I will look into it I'll put a link to it in the video below. I'm sorry, in the comments below. And it's all about out-of-body experiences. And I was like, well, that seems like quite an adventure. I don't know anything about it. I've never done it. And I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna try it. This 2021. My mission is to have multiple out-of-body experiences and to, according to this video, travel to other dimensions, meet other people, gain insight about my life, and learn more about the adventure. I have I have 2 other YouTube channels. One is through a partnership with a guy named Kirk Van Linden. It's called Teach Me to Sell. And I've learned a lot about YouTube this year, experimenting there. I have my own personal where I do some audio blogs, basically, channel as well. And I thought this would be a great place to track this whole thing and see what it's like, see what I got out of it, see what the experience is like, and look back on a year from now and see 2021. I started this OBE, out of body experience thing. I'm actually, by the way, you could probably see it somewhere. I'm hoping at this point, but I'm calling this channel or this thing my OBEE, my out of body experience experiment. And I'm just going to kind of keep you in the loop. The shortest version is there is a book that I read called Adventures Beyond the Body: How to Experience Out-of-Body Travel by William Buhlman, Buhlman. So after watching this movie called The Path, in fact, I'm going to find out what the full movie is right now. Hold on one second. Okay, so the movie is called The Path Beyond the Physical. I saw it on Gaia. I think you can find it on Amazon Prime as well, so feel free to check that out. But anyway, there was a gentleman in the movie who was interviewed. His name was William Buhlman, and so I looked into his book afterwards, which I just mentioned. And so I started reading the book. I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and I got to say, I'm excited. I think that I can do this. And I'm excited to share with you guys what the results will be. So I'm 2 days in. The short, again, version is that he says, listen, do this for 60 days. He says, listen, if you try it for 60 days, something's going to happen. His experience was he tried it for about every day for about 3 weeks. And after 3 weeks, it kicked into gear. And you can check out, if you look him up on YouTube, there's some documentaries where he talks about it more. You can look up the video. I'm like, listen, I'm giving it a go. It's 2021, start a new year. 2020 was all about Dr. Joe and me kind of getting clear on my intentions and my ability to control my body, my thoughts, my purpose, my pineal gland, my meditation practice. And so now 2021 is going to be about potentially leaving my body and going into different dimensions. And I'm going to share it with you guys here. So I'm on day 2. And, this video is my first video. So I can tell you what day 2 has brought so far. Day 3, day 4, day 5, they might be just quick 3-second videos telling you what happened. I'm hoping that they are long videos, me telling you amazing things that happened and sharing my experiences with you. I'm not going to I'm not going to put this on my Facebook. I'm not going to market this very much. My intention is for those who are seeking it to find it. And, maybe perhaps if you had any experience as well, you want to share it in the comments below. I'm all in. I'm interested in connecting and learning about your experience. I'm not the guy that's going to go climb Mount Everest. I'm not the guy. I think this world is an amazing, beautiful place, and I think there's a ton of adventure. And I plan to go on a lot of adventures physically around the world. Nothing too strenuous though. But this as far as exploring, I'm not going to explore space, but I can explore other dimensions if I can do it from my bed, man. That's amazing. It's not that I'm lazy as much as it's just my style. So that's my intention. I just want to share with you. So day 1 really gives you 2 basic practices, and he goes in depth into the book. There's 5 or 6 or 8 or something like different techniques that you can use to kind of bring about these different out-of-body experiences. I'm starting with the basics and what this guy, William Buhlman, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, Buhlman, perhaps, Buhlman, suggests. And he says that his favorite, there's 2 things that I'm doing. One is that as I'm going to bed, I just repeat the mantra, now I am out of body, now I am out of body, now I am out of body. And I imagine myself standing at the foot of my bed while my body is also in bed. And then 2, and this is where it gets interesting because it's already worked a little bit. 2, I am imagining myself, he says, pick 3 objects that are in another house or another room. And so I've actually chosen, because we're in COVID, I haven't really gone very far recently in the past year or so. I mean, here and there I go out and about. But for the most part, I'm spending a lot of time here at home, a lot of time here in my office working on different projects. And so I've chosen as my objects, like my salt lamps, right? The Himalayan salt lamps, the records, like this whole, basically this back wall. He says choose 3 objects, but I've kind of chosen really this whole wall. In fact, just me walking into this room, you can't see but behind me, but there are some door handles. So I imagine myself just pulling those doors closed. And then I go to, what's on this side, which is my left, when I walk in, and I touch those different things. I read those different books. It's actually a book that I wrote right there. He definitely recommends having something that you know well, maybe something that you created, like pottery or painting or sculpture or something like that. I wrote those books. I wrote that book. And you can't see it right now, but behind that chair, there is another piece of pottery that I made in high school, actually. And so I envision myself coming in this room and just kind of walking along this wall, picking up those different things. I know how they feel, looking at them. And then I move over across the other side. I look through some records. I touch that salt lamp, so I know how it feels. I recognize some of these other books up here. So I just envision myself there and over again. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So day 1, actually, I started this for the very first time. And as you're reading this book, he mentions a couple different things that will begin to happen before the out-of-body experience when you know that you're going there. Really, he talks about connecting with these other dimensions or this out-of-body experience. Really what it is that you're on a different vibration, that we are right now in more of a physical vibration. And that is a little like a level up to this, the next dimension being a more of a spiritual vibration, where everything is, instead of having to physically move through time and space, you use thought to travel and to participate. And so he says some of the first things that will happen is you'll notice like a humming, like a buzzing, like a vibration that is occurring into your body. And then you will go into paralysis of some sort. And from the paralysis is when you start to actually then recognize you're out of your body. And he says a lot of the time the challenge is that, and this is all my layman's version of his words, right? This is me paraphrasing. So for the actual details, he's done thousands of out-of-body experiences, according to him, since the 1970s. There's a guy named Bob Monroe, started a whole Monroe Institute, and that's what this movie's about as well. Just people who have worked there and their experiences with out of body and different dimensions. And so this is me 2 days in, right? I'm no master, that's for sure. But I can say that day 1, as I was doing these and I was imagining myself touching these things as I'm drifting off to sleep, instead I'm just picturing myself down here in the in my office, touching these different things and being in a different place, saying to myself over and over again, now I am out of body. Now I'm out of body. And I started getting this crazy, weird vibration all over in my legs and in my entire body as I was drifting off to sleep. Later in the night, there was something had fallen in my shower or something like that and made a large noise. And when I woke up, like my whole entire body was almost like pins and needles, and not from being asleep, as in my leg fell asleep, but as in like this vibration was beginning to occur throughout my body. He also says you'll hear things like someone calling your name. You might hear different types of music. So I haven't heard any of those. I will say though, which had me mostly intrigued about this as well, is throughout this past year, as I've been focusing on my daily meditations and really focusing on activating my pineal gland, I have had some interesting dreams. I'm not much of a lucid dreamer. I know some people, my wife in particular, she lucid dreams all the time. I am not one who does very often and hasn't really for most of my life. I do occasionally fly, and that is a unique feeling, like I am in control with my thoughts as I'm flying in my dreams. But I will also say that more recently, about 2 months ago, I had this dream where I don't know where I was. It was definitely a dream. It wasn't lucid. I didn't know I was dreaming, but someone, like I was in line for something and somebody called me over and they put like, I don't know if it was like a sword, but they put something on my shoulder, like kind of like put it down on my shoulder. And I got to tell you, man, my body, the feeling I had in my body was the best feeling I ever had in my entire life in this dream. And I just like literally felt I couldn't move. And at that point, I heard someone calling my name and it was time for me to go, whatever that meant. It was like, you're next, like you're next on line. And I remember just saying, listen, I feel so good right now. I'm not going anywhere. And I was in this crazy feeling of just literally, it was best feeling I could ever explain. It was just my whole entire body was just lit up. It's what I imagine crazy drugs are like. And so this, after like kind of feeling that and having someone call my name, but not really being ready to go, and then reading this book and having these guys talk about this vibration, I was like, okay, so there's something there that I've somewhat experienced. So perhaps I can tap into it a little farther. So day one, I definitely felt it. Like even as I was falling asleep, I was feeling the vibrations in my legs and in my body, and I drifted off. I was woken up by something like that happened in my house, physically, literally happened, and that kind of jarred me out of it. And I couldn't really go back to sleep after that for a little bit, but no particular out of body experience or anything else happened from day one. So day two, I tried it again, went back in, and that was last night. And day two was less. I mean, I started to feel the vibration a little bit more, but I was pretty exhausted after not sleeping well the first night, and so I just kind of fell right to sleep. And I think I was distracted. Well, I wasn't able to stay focused on the different parts to my office. I wasn't able to stay focused on the mantra very well. As much as I think that is necessary to invoke the next stage. So that's where I am. I'm on day two. It's January 5th, 2021. I hope you guys dig the channel. Subscribe if you are interested in watching my adventure unfold. I promise to do my best to check in daily, even if it's just for hey, nothing happened, or hey, this happened, or a little bit, whatever. And January 5th, 2022, we will see what the next 365 days brings for the world and for me outside the world. Any questions? I don't know. Let me know. Any thoughts, any examples, any experience that you've had? Let me know in the comments below, and maybe send me to some other videos that could help me as well. But in the meantime, I intentionally want to almost do it with less guidance at this point on. I feel like this book was extremely helpful, gave me a lot of information, aligned with a lot of my thoughts that I've kind of developed after working on Dr. Joe's stuff over the past year. So a lot of the concepts of just multidimensional understanding of space and time were kind of touched on in this guy's book as well. And so that made me also want to step into it. So from here, I'm just really going to step into the action minimum of 60 days, right? So if I go to the end of February and nothing has happened, there's a good chance I will stop the video channel. I will stop the video things. But something is telling me from a little extra research that I've done that if I can be dedicated. Like I said, I've done Dr. Joe hour-plus meditations every day for the past year, at least 300 and let's say 50 days. Of the last 365, I did a meditation of some sort from Dr. Joe. And so I know that I can do 60 days of going to bed, saying a mantra and pretending what it's like to be in this room and imagining myself holding these different things and seeing them and being here. And so that's it. So that's all I got. I will see you on the other side. Thanks for paying attention. I look forward to the journey ahead, and I hope you do too.